Welcome to Game of Roses. This is PaceCase.
This is BachelorClues, and we have the full recap of Joan Vassos's episode 5. This is the final game of the regular season. Before hometowns, before the first round of playoffs begin next week. Some big surprises. I thought there were some tables turned here. Yeah, a lot of insane play, a lot of insane decisions made, and we're going to get to all of that.
Most importantly, we saw the legs.
Oh my God, we did.
We saw Mr. Legs' legs.
We saw Mr. Legs.
The dark horse.
Wow. And
Mr. Legs, he's been there all along. That was the clue.
Maybe that had some effect on the outcome of tonight's big game. But before we get into that, we must mention next Wednesday, that is October 23rd, I believe. That is going to be Joan Vassos's hometowns. Yes. And we will be doing a live watch party here in Los Angeles, California at 33 Taps in West Hollywood. We'll have all of
You heard that right. Playoffs. Live.
Yep. We'll have all the details in terms of time, address, all of that stuff up on our social media. So follow us there. But it's at the 33 Taps, West Hollywood. I believe the episode's going to air at 8 o'clock. I would suggest getting there a little bit early to get a seat and everything.
Waymo there.
Yeah, Waymo if you can. I'll be Waymoing every week. This is a brand new venue. This is 33 Taps is opening a new location that I think the grand opening is this coming weekend. And then the very next Wednesday, the first Wednesday they're open, we'll be there doing a live watch party. Yeah, exactly. But it's a great location. It's almost immediately across the street from Tom Tom and Pump, if you're a big Vanderpump fan at all. It's just right there in the little West Hollywood mecca of reality television. Yes, I am. Right. We hope you'll join us.
Speaking of, I am almost caught up. No, I'm not almost caught up. But I caught up with your Love is Blind. And now I am watching your Love Island Season 6 USA episodes, which probably should be my screen because I've already seen the season.
It's fantastic. I'm looking so forward to covering a Love Island season live as it's airing, which will be whatever the next one is. I hope it lives up to this. What's that?
It's going to be hard to live up to this. This is one of the all-time castings, but you got to download the app, then you can vote. I'm sure those polls are real.
I'm sure they are as well. I can't wait to be a part of it, and I hope you'll join me for it too. Also, we should mention if you want to follow
Patreon.com/Game of Roses.
And if you go there and you want to watch Love Island with me, or you want to watch Love is Blind with me, but you don't want to sign up for a full subscription, you can get either one of those things by themselves without having to sign up for a monthly subscription, if that's your preference. But if you sign up for the monthly subscription, you get it all, pal. So, shall we get into this PaceCase?
Let's go.
This is Game of Roses, the final game of Joan Vassos's regular season. I can't believe this season's already hitting playoffs, but this was a wild one.
I cried multiple times during this episode.
Really?
I thought last episode was maybe my favorite all season, but this one, look, at first I thought this was a weak opening tag compared to last week, obviously, compared to Chalk's mom. And I don't think, unless you have the context, that this tag makes any sense.
I agree with you.
Any drama.
Yes, I was very confused when they opened with this tag. The tag is Mark is having a conversation with Keith and Pascal, and Joan comes to steal him for a second. And then Keith is like, oh, I think that was probably a good thing that she took him. And that's it. That's all we get. I have no idea what the hell's going on here. I don't know if this is after a one-on-one date, after a group date. Is it the morning before the whole episode starts? I literally have no idea what's going on here. And
is this a pool party and she's just performing steals?
Yeah, just a standard pool party. We just don't know what's going on. And I think after having now watched the whole episode, there wasn't a lot of big cliffhangery kind of moments. And I don't think there's going to be, honestly, through the rest of the season. I think it's going to be pretty standard. What you think is going to happen is going to happen. I don't know, though. There were a little bit of surprising things in the end.
Didn't happen this episode.
Really?
2 frontrunners went home. 2 people I thought were in the hometowns.
Yeah, Jonathan surprised me. I'll say that much.
A line in the promo that I thought should have been like the fence jump of the season, that Joan talking to the kid being like, your dad is going to break up with me or something like that. We'll get to it.
I don't think that's real. I think everything in that is...
None of them are real, but yeah, it was a good line. I was intrigued.
It was indeed. Portion 1 begins. Daytime mansion. The house is seemingly empty. We see Pascal standing in his underwear, steaming his own shirt now. He's been reduced to doing his own laundry now that we've had some eliminations over the course of the season. And the guys all agree.
We've watched the slow deterioration of Pascal. He has fewer and fewer clothes on, and now he's down to literally his last underwear.
What has happened? Where is Dan to do my shirts? We cut to all the other guys here are agreeing that the house is feeling empty, and Chalk ITMs that he doesn't like. The other guys are starting to fall for Joan, and hometowns are coming. So we know those are going to be next week. When they start hitting you over the head with like hometowns, it's going to be the next week. And we hear the phrase hometowns are coming or some variant of that about 270 times in this episode. We get this flashback then to Keith stammering on his one-on-one time from last week at the cocktail party. Keith and Jordan then talk about his poor play, and Jordan, in fact, says, "You're a little out of your game." This is open gameplay speech. They left it right in the document. Keith ITMs.
This is Mr. Legs just dropping in little hints of reader behavior.
Yeah.
Never saw this coming that he was going to make it to hometowns.
I didn't either. Keith ITMs that he feels like his relationship with Joan is stalling out a little bit, but he knows there's something between them and he needs that valuable one-on-one time. We cut to La La Land Cafe at the Commons in Calabasas, California. FYI, there's also a La La Land Cafe at the Grove.
FYI, Calabasas is where Kim Kardashian is from, and Leah Kateb, I want to say.
I think so too. I'm pretty sure she is.
Then at this La La Land, we get Trista Sutter, a.k.a. Trista Rain, a.k.a. perhaps the most Council of Crowns of any lead of all time. Or she's at least coming for Sean Lowe at this point.
Yeah, she's up there with Sean Lowe for sure.
She has this kind of quick chat. I love her hair. I really truly need Trista to drop every single routine for everything in her life. And Joan is like recapping it. No roses. This is the only information that I think was important in this scene. No roses at all. Not a one-on-one rose. Not a group date rose. Ooh.
Yeah. So
there is one other important piece of info.
I agree. But this information you're mentioning about a roseless episode. So they are telling us that right up front, which I think is a mistake. This should have been delivered probably on the first one-on-one day. She should have had the rose and told Keith, you know what? I would love to give this to you, but I don't think it's fair to the other guys. I just decided right now I'm not giving roses to anybody. It makes it a bigger dramatic moment. As they did it here, it just takes the steam out of the whole episode. There are no stakes on any of these dates.
Drop that rose out of the helicopter. Yep. It's gonzo.
Something like this. We do see here, Joan basically says, I can't figure out how to go all in with somebody. I don't know how to do that yet. Trista says you can't be in your head. Her biggest regret is not sharing more with Ryan back in season 1 of The Bachelorette and not being vulnerable enough to share that she was falling in love with him. Now, ironically, Trista Sutter was the target of the first love level in the history of Bachelor when she was a player in season 1 and she had a Mikasa date with then Bachelor Alex Michelle. And he told her, Trista, I really like you. And she said, that's great. This soup is great. She just stonewalled the first love level of all time. But Joan says,
what a power player.
She really was.
She's like a portrait of Dorian Gray situation. I mean, this is a producer plant line, right? About the love level 3s, trying to get Joan to put as many love levels on the table.
Yes, I think
she's like, my only regret is I didn't bang all of my final 6.
My only regret is I didn't get in a fist fight with one of my final 6, have sex with one of my final 6, get walked in on by another player while I'm doing it for my final 6, and then jump off a balcony into the mansion pool. I think they are having potentially a little difficulty with Joan getting into the role. She is a fine first Golden Bachelorette, but she's not doing a lot of like crazy emotional play. She's not throwing out a lot of one-liners. She is a little reserved in the way she is crowning. And I think this might be a ploy by the producers to get her to like, come on, give us something. And it didn't really work, I don't think, but nonetheless.
We see several of those producer ploys. One of them is a literal treasure hunt for extracting PTCs and shit.
Unreal. We will get to that. That's where my error was. So Trista says, John is going to be happy for you from the great beyond if you can give yourself to the process to find the next guy. I don't know how she knows this.
A blessing from the beyond.
Yes, from Joan's deceased husband. Trista is speaking on his behalf here.
Yeah.
I found this
and
to
Joan
be...
produces tears.
Yeah.
Trista did her job. Well,
yeah.
Pay her the big bucks.
Go in there and make her cry. Joan says she still feels a little guilty. She items that she doesn't want his memory to fade away, and she's not going to leave anything on the table. She owes it to the guys and to herself. She has to find the right person. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, Jordan is postmaster generaling with a date card. It is
I thought it was Chalk.
Was it? I think it's Jordan.
I don't know.
I have Jordan. I'm unsure now.
Shit.
But the date card says, Keith, I want a love that gets better with age. Love, Joan. And that is going to be Keith with our first one-on-one, which turns out to be a Get to the Chopper / Vineyard tour. Mark ITM's disappointment and worry and doubt. Keith ITM's excitement about having a normal conversation with her because his last conversation was not normal. He dropped the ball. He knows he fucked it up, but the hometowns are coming. That's our second mention. And he has to play this correctly. On the ride there, he ITMs that he wants a partner for life, and she chucks all of his boxes and he'll have the best time of his life with her. He pulls up to see Joan standing in front of a helicopter. They hug, kiss on the cheek. They both say they've never been in a helicopter
before. The kiss
before.
of death.
Is that possible?
What, have you been in a helicopter?
I ain't never been on The Bachelor.
Joan went home like week 3.
That ain't my fault.
She should have gotten a Get to the Chopper. I feel like she would get that Pretty Woman date.
I thought she was in one this season, but I think that was the private jet with Pascal to Vegas. I think that's what I was remembering. Anyways.
Well, Keith, the guys are glowing Keith. It's a tough look going into the date. Pascal says he's blushing right now. And we see that they swoop by the guys at the mansion and all of the guys are in the pool. It was so cute. I mean, maybe they made them get out here.
Maybe?
But...
every other person that is not Keith is in the swimming pool looking into the sky for a helicopter. Maybe they made them go out there. Of course. There's not ever been.
Maybe it's just guy time.
Uh-huh. I don't think there has been a peeping Tom. Peeping Tom, by the way, is when producers force players to come out and go onto a veranda or onto a balcony or into a swimming pool to look and see the other person on the date with the lead. These are not done natural at all, ever. They are always producer forced. Okay.
We see Love Island players crawling on the floor to perform peeping Toms all the time. It's
Love
like
Island's
a tradition.
Different. That's like Big Brother. You're in a bubble. You're in a weird little confined space. This shit's way different. And you're telling me they've just
Jordan says he got the helicopter. Reader.
Yeah.
Watcher. Behavior.
Let me simply say this. On Bachelor, nothing really is happening organically. Every scene you see is set up with camera people and producers telling what players to go where and what to say and what to do. Now, the players can do that to 100% or not, or 0% or anywhere in between in terms of what they're going to say or how they're going to interact. But in terms of like where they are positioned and who they are talking to, they don't have any control over that. This peeping Tom's 100% arranged. 100%.
I choose to believe whatever you choose to believe in terms of how real the show is.
It blows my mind. We've been covering this show for how long, and still you think it's real? It's unreal to me.
I want to say decades.
It's about 5 years. We're getting close to a decade. We're closer to a decade than we're not.
Oh, God. It's not good. Decades. When you start talking in decades, oh, my God. Keith says they're going to be so jelly. I'm stoked. LOL. And we hear Chalk use the F word. And I'm glad they're on a date. F no.
Absolutely.
Chalk after dark.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that he had it in him. Those Kansas boys, they can be nice, they can be proper until they ain't. Portion 2 begins. Day, the helicopter lands at a vineyard. Keith ITMs that this is an incredible first date and he feels some pressure to make up for the prior botch. They emerge from the chopper onto the grounds of the Babcock Winery. The welcome sign reads established 1978 wine, music, vintage soul. And we meet Brian and Lisa Babcock, the owners of Babcock Winery. And these Babcock Winery owners were my Jorge Moreno, bystander of the week. They were just... I mean, they were
unreal.
Yeah. Because we find out as they sample some Love Garden Rosé. By the way, if you like rosé, keep your wine cellar not fully stocked. Keep a little area for one or two bottles.
I'll dig a little hole and I'll keep it empty.
Sometime early next year, just you might want to add some.
Digging.
You might need some space for something else. So they sample some of these other wines. Sample.
It wasn't Andrew Firestone at this winery, which I was pissed about, but I think he might be also boycotting the show with Sean Lowe until they bring back Chris Harrison.
Sean Lowe's boycotting the show?
Didn't he say that at some point? Like, I'm not going to watch it anymore when DLH was fired?
He? No, because he was there for Zach Shawcross's whole season. He was in that season. Many times. He was eating sandwiches while Zach Shawcross was lifting weights.
I think he went back on it pretty fast, but I think he said it. Look, I don't know. It's all speculation. And can we just talk about how this couple, I was like, siblings are married and they are in exact twin tots. They are wearing white tops. They are wearing brown belts. They are wearing tan pants.
They could be siblings and married. We don't know.
They had long brown hair, the same hair. But Lisa gets a hug from Keith and audibly yells, "Oh, becoming my Jorge Moreno, bystander of the week." Nice. Her gaze play was unreal. She handled Joan saying, "Oh, you're just like me. Your marriage will be 32 years," like a pro.
Yeah. Well, that part too. That's why they got my Jorge Moreno, is because they weren't just bystanders. They were also a ceremony of the ancients. They're the ones, despite the fact that they are, I think, younger than Keith and Joan. Still, they know what it takes to be married for a long time. I was thinking about that
with Joan and Trista as well. I was like, what is the age difference here? Can a ceremony of the ancients be with someone who is, my big sister in my sorority was younger than me.
Ah, interesting.
It can happen.
I didn't go into a sorority.
Sorry.
They explain here that they've been married for 32 years. And like you're saying, Joan takes the opportunity to remind us that she was also married for 32 years. And Joan ITMs that 3 years ago, she was Lisa and Brian Babcock. Then things changed when John died. Now she wants to be in a couple again, to have somebody to love that loves her back. Meanwhile, at the mansion, Mark is ITMing.
I cried here.
When Joan said that, when she wants a partner again.
Yes. And Joan, Lisa asked the question, "What are you two looking forward to learning about each other?" Joan ignores the question and just does a meeting of the family. She's like, "Well, he got the FIMP."
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, "I've got my prepared speech about this one."
Yeah.
And I loved being a part of a couple. That part I cried.
Yeah.
But we don't stay on Gonzo's date. We cut back to a sad, sad man in the mansion. It's Mark Anderson, father of Kelsey Anderson, the ring winner from Joey Graziere's season, who did his limo exit with him. And he is talking about his PTC that he lost in East 6.5 years ago. It's still affecting him to this day. And then he clarifies something that I think only Clues and I have been wondering about which creature represents his late wife. That Kelsey sees butterflies and finds comfort, but for him, it is a hummingbird. Mm-hmm. And when he is pondering, should I stay or should I go, he sees a majestic creature which will help him with a play that is very important in this episode. And this hummingbird was my creature of the week.
This is what I wrote. We see a hummingbird on a palm tree, and Mark has indicated that although Kelsey believes his late wife returns to this mortal plane in the form of a butterfly, he believes she metamorphosizes into a hummingbird to enact with this physical realm. And this hummingbird flitting around the palm tree that might or might not have actually been Mark's late wife was my creature of the week. Any kind of spectral return to this mortal plane from a deceased loved one, be it wife, husband, son, daughter, mother, father, pretty much always going to get my creature of the week.
It's beautiful because it is a way to physically display that pondering, that emotion. And honestly, it is powerful. I do not see butterflies the same way as I did before Grazie's season. I always think about Kelsey and Kelsey's family.
I'll say this. My mom loves butterflies. She plants certain plants in their backyard.
You're going to get me. This is, in Oklahoma. I feel like I'm going to cry if you finish this.
My mom is still with us, still here on this mortal realm. Just to let you know,
I know.
Nothing about this is sad. Or maybe it would be in the end. But this is what I'm trying to say. My mom loves butterflies, and she plants all these specific plants around their backyard to attract monarch butterflies. And then they lay their eggs or whatever, and they grow into the worms and all this. And my mom harvests the worms and eats them. I'm just kidding. She harvests the worms and she Jesus. She cares for them. You're going to cry for all the dead worms. She harvests the worms and she puts them in a little like aquarium thing and cares for them until they can hatch and become monarchs. And then she puts little stickers, like tracking stickers on the monarch butterflies, releases them into the wild. And then there's some webpage where you can go and people in Pismo Beach or whatever see the monarch. They see the sticker. They type the sticker in. It's in Pismo Beach now. So you can track where your butterflies go.
She should put QR codes on those butterflies.
Yeah. She should put a sticker that says Kelsey's mom on one of them at least.
Did you ever see the movie May December?
Oh, God. Is that Julianne Moore?
It was a woman and a young man. It was about a teacher and a student.
Julianne Moore.
The student who never really grows up, he cultivates butterflies.
Yeah, I did see it. Pretty good.
I thought this was going to be my play of the game, that he goes now and he's crying in his ITMs.
Mm-hmm.
He's trained by the best in the biz.
Yeah.
Kelsey Anderson, Joey Grazie Day. He has done these gaze play sessions with Grazie. He's ready. And Jordan and Pascal play an STCO for him. And he tells him, Denise was so good at catching hummers. And Jordan says, amazing. What?
Catching hummers. Never heard hummingbirds referred to like that.
Oh, it's like in the community, I think, probably.
Oh.
And Denise told him to go find someone, and he looks for signs in the universe. And Mark says she's there saying this is right. This was so reminiscent to me of the Charles Ling play that I gave my play of the game the other week, of just using the process to process something emotionally, playing it to the second audience, and then you eventually play it to the first audience. And he takes away these walls. There's a brighter door. And we finally cut back to Gonzo's 101. And he tries to open up. He says, what if it doesn't happen with us? I'm afraid to get hurt. And he talks about how he and his wife split up because we tried everything, rehab. So there's this PTC here of addiction. And he and the girl dad daughters haven't talked to her in 10 to 12 years. And he uses his humor to hide it. This might have been my play of the game any other week, but it paled in comparison to this hummingbird storyline.
It just doesn't like, it's a shitty thing to have to say and accept. In the golden game, a divorced PTC, I just don't think cuts it. It just doesn't. When you're up against somebody like Mark. I think it
cuts it for like ring winner.
Maybe.
I don't like, because I don't know. Just like, yeah.
It's a shitty situation and everything, but it's like, there is such a trauma that like what Joan has gone through. Somebody she was with her soulmate for 32 years died of cancer in this phase of her life where it's like, you really need somebody to be with in the golden years. Listen to my song, Golden Years. It lays it all out. But
look, Clues, he says he cries at dog movies. I cry at dog movies. I cry at Golden Bachelor, and I cry at your AI songs of made up PTCs. I cried at it all.
I forgot. At any rate, I'm just saying, I don't think that a divorce
and me,
or like
my dog Skip. Oh God.
Oh shit. I just don't think that a divorce PTC or heartbreak PTC can measure up to what other people are playing in a golden game.
I think it can. I think it. Look, both Mark and Keith go home this episode. But, and I think there is a way of playing this in a better way. Like Keith's 101, it might have been the era of the season for him because I think it just crushed that.
It tainted.
The confidence. Yeah. The ick. She got the ick. Taint. She was on the floor. Joan is like, I'm not a floor lass.
Yes, I agree. Nonetheless, here
he tries to do this future casting. He names all the kids. And I thought maybe he would be my MVP. Gets this kiss and they're drinking and he's loving it. He says he feels content. It's not exciting, but it's everyday life. And they play hide and seek and stomp wine with their feet. No, they don't. They just drink and make out in the vineyard.
Yeah, that's a better way to go, I feel like.
Portion I think 3. So too. You never want to see feet in grapes.
I agree with you. 100%.
I don't.
You don't. No one does.
I mean, if that's your thing, I don't shame it.
Portion 3
DOP
begins.
Cuts my soul here in this casting card. He says, we're looking for seniors looking for love who are young at heart. And that phrase, young at heart, I feel like just like struck me differently. I was like,
you cried because
maybe we just
always
feel young at heart. I didn't cry here.
I feel old at heart. I've always felt old at heart.
I was going to ask you, do you feel young or old at heart?
No, very old. Ancient, in fact.
I feel like you are ancient. I feel quite young.
Interesting.
I feel like I'm a baby.
Yeah, I feel almost vampiric at heart, or
you know
what I mean? Old gods before time, kind of at heart.
You are the most vampiric of all my friends, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know all your friends.
Daylight. Actually, one of them doesn't.
Who's that? DM me after this. Portion 3 begins. I need to meet up with some other vampires. That's what I'm learning. Portion 3 begins. Evening. Back at the mansion. The guys are sitting around pontificating on who needs that one-on-one the most. And they remind us she's not giving out roses this whole game. Guy ITMs that Mark is the only player without a one-on-one, and he wants all the different people here to have a one-on-one. Mark ITMs that he's manifesting the one-on-one. Knock, knock. Jonathan plays the Postmaster General here. It is a group date for Guy, Jordan, Jonathan, Pascal, and Chalk, which means Mark does get that final one-on-one. Our love has no time to spare is what the date card reads, and all these guys immediately know it's bowling. Producers are doing a bad job at obfuscating what the dates are actually going to be with these date cards.
Guy plays a little IFI here about his knees and shoulder being banged up from the football dates. Yeah. Chalk is stretching. I thought this was cute. John is like, I'm all about the follow through. Hometowns, here I come. And I was like, of course he's going to hometowns. I never saw this man not going to hometowns. Can't believe it.
I agree. He was the surprising one to me too. I wrote down one of the guys. I wrote down, will one of these guys lick the ball like Ari did?
I mean,
season 22.
You know I've got it.
Nobody did.
You know I've got lick the ball written here somewhere. I said, oh, where is it? We'll get to it.
All right. The guys all head to Lucky Strike in Woodland Hills, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where there are Lucky Strikes. There's one downtown.
My favorite bowling alley.
Huh. Well, anyways, Joan bowls as she's ITMing that it's this is the last ever group date. She thinks bowling is perfect. Hometowns are on her mind, but a lighthearted fun date is exactly what they need. She bowls a strike as the guys come in. Guy ITMs that this woman has game.
I know what it was. I'm not sure where I wrote it, but it was, I said FEMA would have licked the ball.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Or at least gotten one of the guys to. Chalk ITMs, a reminder that no roses are going out again this week. It's like, we get it. Joan welcomes them and gives them beer, food, and bowling shirts. She ITMs that Pascal was not happy to wear his bowling shirt, but he ITMs, it is not Gucci or Prada, but it's okay. I look good in blue. And he says, this is not a game they play in Europe, but he'll go with the flow. There's not
everything
bowling in
he
Europe.
says is funny.
Like, isn't there? I don't know either. Now I'm questioning it. Is this a only North American sport? I don't know.
It might be. Joan calls him a sandbagging son of a bee. And Jordan gets a strike, Mr. Legs. And we see all of them start competing in the bowling. And the storyline of this group date is Chalk is cuddling Joan too hard. And it's a full court press. And we hear Chalk's little flirtatious line. Which side of the bed do you like?
Oh my
I would say that's not a question I would have done in front of the other people.
I don't think the other people heard that, though. I think that was just mic'd up. And by the way, I'm going to say this. I gave Chalk, for what he was doing here with Joan, my play of the game. This crucial moment where all you have to do is make it through this round and you're in the playoffs. You have to do everything you can to stand out, to make sure you get that rose. And he did. These guys can feel whatever type of way they want to feel about it. And we even hear him later in an ITM basically say, I'm not here to make friends. That he's like, I don't care how these other guys feel. I'm here for her. I'm here for this relationship. And I'm doing what I think is necessary. And it worked. I think that's,
and you're not going to get it's like too late for villains. It's
exactly. There's no recourse for these guys here. What are they going to do right before the rose ceremony? Be like, well, he was talking to you too much. Be gone. They can't do that. I thought it was just a brilliant
and it looks
play.
bad when they do. Like guys, like you should give time to others. It doesn't hit, and it always comes off for TRR when they're explaining it. Chalk's like, it's just about me and Joan. We see some fun slow-mo shots of them bowling and them cleaning the balls. We see one-on-one time, quick pops of one-on-one time. John's mom did this bowling for dollars contest, and he cringles an envelope of photos to her. It's his mom's driver's license and pictures of him as a kid. I thought this was cute.
I did too. And right when Jonathan explains that his mother was essentially a pro bowler and had a bunch of pins from her victories, Joan delivers a full mouth and eye aperture look of pleasantly shocked surprise. And this was my
face play of the game.
There's not a lot of face play to go around now in Golden. Everybody's faces are kind of subdued.
I saw a lot of good ones.
Oh, did you really? Well, this was the one
this was up there for me.
Right. But I did like this kringle.
It was so good, and it's a great timing of this going into hometowns. You're going to meet these guys, and he gets a kiss. He's on the board. We cut back to the guys, and Guy really wants to bring her home to Reno, Nevada. His feelings are getting stronger and stronger. Loaded love level 1, and I want her to be looking at my eyes and know that what I say is with sincerity. It's very intense. And we get this quick time with Pascal. She says she loves hanging out with her kids and grandchildren, and he talks about his. quick pop of Jordan saying his daughters will love you. I'm like, okay, he's gone. Nope. And
yeah, you can kind of start to tell by the edit that Jordan is perhaps not long for this role, but he did make it.
He did make it, but I do think he's still not long.
I agree. One-on-one time then with Guy, he says there's one variable that's been constant through this whole process that makes him happy. That's Joan. He hasn't been this happy in so many years. He gets a kiss out of this. He then ITMs that this is the first time since the end of his marriage that he could be falling in love. Loaded love level 2. Jonathan Pascal then lead the guys in a conversation about how much Chalk was overstepping his boundaries as Chalk plays skee ball with Joan. Then we get this one-on-one time with Chalk while they're playing skee ball. He talks about playing golf and having a normal life. She wants to be in a couple again. She goes home to an empty house. She doesn't want that. Chalk says it's no fun for him.
Oh, the empty house thing.
Yeah, the empty house thing was a sad moment. Me. Joan says she thought it was being selfish that to want love again. You don't get to do this twice in your life. At this age, you should be in some kind of a support role to your family. And now she's like, her family wants her to be happy. Chalk says he can see them together. Future casting. Joan agrees. She sees a future with him. Reverse future cast. We get a kiss here. Chalk ITMs that his feelings keep getting better and stronger. He's confident that he'll get that hometown rose. One more kiss. Back with the guys, she tells them all that she's had a hard decision. She loves them all. She ITMs that she could fall in love with more than one of them, and she would love to go to all of their hometowns. This rose ceremony will be hard. And Pascal finally says he wouldn't want to be in her place right now. Jordan knows they're all stressed out. So again, we end each of these dates on this kind of like, it's not a cliffhanger. It's like, well, we got to wait until a fucking rose ceremony to see how any of this played out. I just think it was a bad idea to not give out roses, or at least
I agree.
It
doesn't give you anything.
Yeah. It just takes all the steam out of the entire episode, in my opinion. It's like you can have her make those choices at the end of the dates. Like there could be a group date rose laying on the table. She picks it up and says, you know what? I can't give this out. Sorry. It's too hard of a decision.
Exactly. Fine. That's when she should do it.
Yes,
pull it once they've seen it on the table and they're all fighting for it all night.
Exactly. This just like, it takes all the pressure off everything.
Yeah, then you get two moments as opposed to one.
Yeah.
We see Mark is getting ready for this date. He is rehitting that PTC about Denise. Keith calls him the salt of the earth. And our boys all grown up, Jordan says. And Keith's on cloud 10. Oh, Mark has built his confidence. I'm starting to be concerned, and I'm wondering, is this like this episode seemed like a funeral to Mark?
I agree.
Like here is your next crown. Here is the literal opposite we could do of what we did with Clayton Eckerd,
Except I'll say this. I don't think he can be the crown. They may make him the crown. I think he'll be a bad one. Mm-hmm. And it was because of this one-on-one.
I think it has to be Charles.
I think it does too. I think, we'll get to it and I'll tell you my reasoning.
Okay.
So anyways, he's talking about how he feels a greater connection to Joan because of their mirrored spousal death PTCs. He wasn't ready for dating despite his family encouraging. He never expected to process so much while in this process. Now he's ready. It only took a couple of weeks here in the Bachelor Mansion. He comes out. All these guys are giving him hugs and stuff like you're talking about. And then Joan walks in. She tells him this is the last date before hometowns. It feels that night one was a lifetime ago, but the journey also seems so fast. And then she tells Mark they've got a red Porsche convertible and she's driving. So they get out in the driveway and take off. And she ITMs that Mark's kind and handsome. He checks so many boxes. That's a good on paper. You check boxes, you're good on paper, you're done. As soon as she said that, I'm like, dead. He's fucking gone.
Yeah.
I was expecting a benevolent execution on the date itself. That it happened a little bit later, though. She says it would be easy to give him a hometown rose. She invokes Kelsey and Joey. She wants to hang out with Kelsey and Joey. But at the end of the day, it's about a connection. Mark is quiet and soft-spoken, and he's so formal. Quiet and soft-spoken ain't a crown. And we see it all through this whole day. He's whispering to her. He never talks. You can't hear what he's saying. He is whispering 100% of the time. I now see why he got the last one-on-one.
Way of talking.
I think they cast him in this season thinking he was going to be the Golden Bachelor because of obviously his relation to one of the greatest players of all time in Kelsey Anderson. And he's a good looking guy. He became a thirst trap online for a minute. So they put him in this season. They orchestrated a deep run for him to set him up properly to be the next Golden Bachelor. And I think they got him in this game and they were like, oh shit, this guy doesn't go above fucking -6 decibels. We can't hear what he's saying. He's whispering to everyone all the time.
Are you joking? Then why would they make this whole episode about him?
Because they have to make it, I think it's still in their minds as they're shooting this that like, well, maybe he can still be Golden Bachelor, and they have to justify it. They've got to at least give him a one-on-one date and a honorable discharge from the game, basically, which is what they did. But I'm just saying,
they didn't do that to Patty James.
They didn't. I agree. I'm just saying they may make him Bachelor. They may not be seeing it the way I'm seeing it. I'm saying this dude, I think, turns in a very boring season, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think it might be like, you know, we kind of have two different types of leads. We have the 4TRR one, and then we have like the free spirit one. And I think he's more of the 4TRR lead.
Sure.
We had him.
But I would say Gary was a 4TRR lead.
Yeah.
And he was still funny and like outspoken and would do crazy stuff and say crazy stuff.
And so would Charles. So would Charles be.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. I just don't think he's like, he's good on, what is it? Not good on TV. I don't know what I was trying to link it to a good on paper thing. I just don't think he's a TV star. At any rate, they get on this yacht and we see some gulls here. They talk about how effortless it is for the yacht to go through the water. He's sitting with his arm around her. They're like, well, it's colder than I thought it'd be. They just keep sipping champagne in silence. It seems like we're getting an awkward no talking edit here, which is bad. Ominous
Lauren
music comes in.
Lyondike and Ari Lyondike on that one-on-one date.
They do find a nice moment to fit in an American flag flapping in the wind behind them. They finish some last sips of champagne, and Joan ITM's feeling the pressure because hometowns are coming up. They let us know that again. Casting card, portion 6. It's the yacht in the water.
More awkward edit.
Yeah. We're still in the awkward edit. They're saying nothing. The captain finally comes out and he gives him a note card from, in quotes, Jesse. Now, this is not the usual handwritten card from the Dark Lord. It is typed out, and they cut down what Joan Vassos is actually saying as she's reading it, but I transcribed the whole thing. I'll read it for you now. Hi, Joan and Mark. Welcome aboard this beautiful yacht. Just as the ocean depths hold countless treasures, I wanted to give you an opportunity to deepen your connection and uncover more about each other. Today, you'll embark on a special scavenger hunt designed to help you share stories, memories, and more about yourselves while enjoying the stunning surroundings. Each clue will lead you to a different part of the yacht and invite you to dive into different facets of your lives. Like the current that carries us across the sea, let your conversation carry you to a new understanding and deeper bonds. Take your time, be honest, and most importantly, have fun. Your first clue is waiting for you where you met the captain. Best of luck and enjoy every moment. Jesse Palmer.
This card that I had no idea said all that, I guess is my wowee moment of the week. That seems like someone was like drunk, right?
I know. Like, what are they doing? Can't you just have the PA be like, have fun on the scavenger hunt on the high seas. Love, Jesse. That's all you need.
Yeah.
This is insane. I was like, Jesus, they're
very
fucking
flowery.
Yes. And
that
it's like,
writer
it's
was
so
like,
much.
This is my moment.
It probably was.
I'm going to get my first thing on TV.
But it's like they cut this down to about 10% of itself. They gave her the first thing that was like, welcome on board. I wanted you to have an opportunity to deepen your connection. Have fun on the scavenger hunt. That's what they cut it down to, you know? It's like, holy shit.
That was a good cut.
Whoever yeah, no shit. You can't have fucking all of that in a TV show. Anyways, they go on the scavenger hunt. And I'm like, are they going to make these motherfuckers dive into the water and like open a treasure chest at the bottom of the sea? Please. But they don't. It's all on board the boat.
I never thought that was a possibility.
Kind of boring. The first clue is reel the line and
Gentle
let the adventure
Joan
begin.
needs to be protected. She doesn't jump into waters. She kind of glistens.
All right.
Kind of just.
They come to a fishing pole that's hanging off the back of the yacht and they reel in the next clue, a message in a bottle. It's time for a game of Never Have I Ever. Joan goes first. She's never seen the Northern Lights. Mark has never woken up to feed a baby. Huh? He has kids.
It's a callback to some previous conversation, I think. that we were not a part of.
I guess.
I also agree. I'm like, what? Yeah, what does that mean?
I think it means like
he always had
his wife
day
did
portion?
it all or something. I don't know. I literally don't know. It just came across weird.
It's not a good. I mean, they're not going to raise kids together, but it's not.
Isn't he a girl
I
dad?
wouldn't put that there. Yeah,
I agree. You got to wake up to feed the babies.
Girl dads. I mean,
Mark ITMs that they have
girl dad at night too.
Similarities. I agree. Never stops. Being a girl dad never stops. It's 24/7, 365. 88.2 or 82.8, whatever it is.
Have you ever seen the Northern Lights? Have you ever woken up to feed a baby at night?
Not a baby, but a full-grown cat that drinks my blood. The next clue asks if they would rather be first or second. I mean, when he's hungry.
You let him feed any time of the day he wants.
Look, the last thing I do every night before I go to bed at like 2:30 in the morning, I fill up his little water cup and I fill up his food bowl just to make sure he's got it if he needs it in the night. But sometimes it ain't enough, because if there is a micron of bowl that can be seen through the food, he will not eat it. So if he clears away even like a dime-sized spot with no food in it, it's smart. At whatever hour that may be. The next clue.
Wowie.
I know. And I give him what he wants. The next clue asks if they would rather be first or second while proclaiming a love level 4, telling each other they love each other. And they both agree it's better to be second. Mark says he always goes second. She says he always goes second. This was my error of the game. What the fuck?
When Mark said he would rather be second, he does a grin that makes me think, is Mark stoned? What is going on? And it was my
face play of the game.
That's why he's talking so long shit too.
Error of the game.
Now,
honestly, saying Mark is unfit to be lead, like, makes me think like I can't, just because I talk slow and like not loudly.
He's just not good at conveying any kind of emotion behind whatever he's saying. And he says,
I think
he doesn't say uninteresting things. A little bit, but like, I don't want to watch that guy for a whole season. I don't think he can be funny, for example. I think your lead has to be able to be funny in some way, once or twice here or there. I've seen none of it from him, but here he's
we don't see Captain Kim come out either.
Yeah, God, he should have been the captain of the yacht. This is a great opportunity for Mark to play a love level. I'm not saying that he should play love level 4 at this kind of early venture, but he could have played a love level 2 here, reel it in and be like, I've never said it first, but I've never felt like this. Joan, I'm starting to fall for you.
Ooh, that would have been such a good lead-in line to that.
Yeah, they're giving it to it. They fucking literally are cueing him to do it. And he's like, I don't know.
You say it first, Joan.
Step away from our beloved game.
I mean,
he's not worthy.
You are disadvantaged when you are going on the last one-on-one date because your confidence takes a hit. As we can see here.
Then don't step up to the plate, motherfucker. This is the big leagues.
But I'm just saying that does happen.
No
and
excuses.
They shouldn't have done it to him. They should have given him the first one.
No excuses. They gave him the biggest stage of the regular season and he fucking botched. Period. He ain't a good player.
He then goes into this whole discussion about the confidence that he has gained through this process. They talk about both losing spouses, and they talk about how they will talk about when they feel safe to talk about it. And something that made me very sad here was she was like, oh, you get to have STCOs in the house. I have no STCO.
Yeah.
And she gets into it. She's like, when did you know that your wife wasn't going to recover? And we get this, the details on this PTC.
Yeah.
Her hair was down to her legs, and then she lost it and hated the wig.
And she was diagnosed in the beginning with stage 4. So like there was no point where he didn't know that it was like the outlook was very bleak. That's rough.
It's horrible. Got to enjoy life, ran out of time. I mean, it's just yeah, it's hard. This PTC, it's like it is hard to not cry at. And
I agree.
Joan says you're never going to be 100% again. I'm like, oh my God. And he says he looks for signs. And then he tells her about our creature of the week, this Hummer that's actually Denise. Come back to this astral plane. And him telling the story after practicing it on the second audience was my play of the game.
Interesting.
I loved it. To me, I totally forgot about Gonzo's PTC after this. I was like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, my wife was, we had to get divorced, addiction. These are all serious and terrible things. And certainly that's a PTC that is viable. It's a viable PTC. But in the face of this, when you're comparing them in the same game, it's like, there is no comparison. There's none.
I think I think that would be a harder one to attach to a creature, which I feel like is really what makes this. Like, I feel like the Hummer and Mark made this play together. Like it was a joint play.
Totally. And he even asked her, he's like, do you believe in like signs from the universe? And she's like, yeah. And we obviously know that she sees the hawk or the eagle or whatever. She believes her husband visits her as an animal as well. So it allows you to not only have some common ground in the mirroring of the PTC, but in the way that it expresses itself, or your kind of fondness, your love for the person who has passed on, you kind of can dual express that too. Even if she didn't have an animal that comes back that reminds her of her deceased husband, for him to say that, she has something that does that. She has some little symbol that reminds, every time she sees a certain kind of a car or whatever. So she would be able to mirror that with him. I'm not saying it was a bad play. I just didn't think it was like, it clearly wasn't a play that got him to hometowns.
It didn't get him to hometowns, but I thought this was a play for Crown.
Yeah, I did too.
We go to the guy chat. Everyone thinks Mark's coming back. No question. He talks about the day and how he's excited for his family to meet her, except I guess Kelsey and Joey, who already have. Oh, and
brutality.
They're able to crush us because they have this footage of everyone coming home from their date being like, it was amazing, but we only see it from Mark. And he's planning out the activities they're going to do in hometowns, the future casting. And we then get this bachelor's preference from Joan. She comes in and pulls Mark, and we finally understand why they made that the tag at all.
Yeah. Now it all makes sense. She sits him down and she's like, we had a great day. I feel like our relationship is growing. We had the important conversations. I love to hear how healing this has been for you. I like the hummingbird mom story. She says she thought she was crazy for wanting John to visit her, produces tears. She says she felt that they bonded in such an important way. She felt so supported. He's such an amazing man. She wanted them to be good, but she went home and something doesn't feel right. She had some clarity this morning and she feels like he's grown so much personally that his heart is mending, but she didn't see herself in the conversations at all. She didn't imagine an us with him, and she came into this too early for him. She doesn't think he's at the same place she is, and she didn't want to go into a rose ceremony when there are hometowns at stake without telling him that she needs someone who is as far along in their journey as she is. And Mark's like, I'm okay with that. This journey is for you to find love. And it's right for you, and you're going to find that love. And Joan's like, I love you, Mark. This is not a love level 4, though.
I mean, it is. It's a post-mortem LL4.
Okay.
Oh, but you think she's saying it platonically.
Yes, it's not romantic. And Mark says,
I'll take it off.
This experience has changed me. I hide myself with an invisibility cloak, but I'm leaving this process a better person, a better father. You're a great person, Mark.
What a speech, though.
I'm sorry.
This speech worked on me. I can't believe you're heartless.
This speech did not work on me. It was
You're old
good.
at heart.
I'm ancient at heart.
You're ancient at heart. So why you can't appreciate the sparkle of this
human
speech.
Emotion. I have an ancient heart before humanity, before time itself. This did not work for me because it did not work for him. Yes, it's a good exit speech, I suppose. We see Joan ITMing that this was the hardest thing she's done. They had an intimate connection, just didn't feel like they were in the same place. Mark comes back to the guys. He sits down. Guys, I have to leave. Chalk feigns shock and disappointment. What? I can't believe it. He says it was a fantastic experience for him. He knows she's accompanied by the most fantastic men. Mark produces tears. Jonathan produces tears. Pascal produces tears. PaceCase produces tears.
When they all started crying,
they all love Level 4.
I cried. Yeah. I literally was like, everyone needs to watch this season. This scene really like crushed me.
No,
and
I
was
agree.
Just like seeing the second audience like love for each other is just like, it is so endearing and wonderful. And I'll cry talking about it. And I'm like, no one is watching this season, but they should be. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the camaraderie of these dudes. And I think it was very similar actually in Golden Bachelor. It's the second audience. It's all the players that really are like the winners of these seasons. They come out of this with these lifelong friendships where they've all learned that they can possibly find love again. They've been there for each other through this crazy process of reopening up and like, you know, getting past some of these traumas that they've probably been carrying around for decades that involve their spouses who may be deceased, who may have divorced them, who may have gone through addictions or whatever the case may be. I do actually think that it serves a function of like group therapy for these people who are at a certain age that have accumulated a lot of similar life experiences that are traumatic in a way that like the younger version of the game can't supply that.
And you just like, I mean, in general, it's why they're not in the target demo. It's like people don't really change. They don't really try new things when they are this age. And going on something like this is so brave and like, I don't know. It's just like it's a wild thing to put yourself out there like this.
I agree.
Especially at that age. Like you don't have to, you know, like it's not. And I guess it just does feel more for TRR because they, you know, it's not as obvious that they're targeting an influencer career.
I agree.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was crying, John crying, Guy crying. I'm going to miss you. Pascal says he was my best friend. He ITMs. I loved this. And he produces tears. I hope he's okay. Ugh.
And Mark gets these final moments. He grabs his stuff. He's ITMing it. This was an incredible journey. I hoped for love and to be open to heal. I hope people can hear you on the podcast. I wasn't what Joan was looking for. And he walks in the driveway and he ITMs. I hoped for a future with Joan. She's fantastic. So much I look for in a person was in her. There's still love in the world and I'll find my love one day and Joan's forever going to have a little corner of my heart. Then he drives into the night. This for me was his best crown play where he's like, I have healed from this. She's fantastic. I will find my person one day.
It was perfect.
Next year, about a year from now. Is that what you're saying on this very network?
Hey, I just don't think he's casting got it. For it. I saw the card.
I know, but I just don't think he's got it. I have to say it. I know they haven't yet selected who the Golden Bachelor is. If any producers are listening, it's Charles L.
Who do you think is? Yeah,
Charles L.
I feel
is
like
the
that's
choice.
The only other choice.
You can't go with any of these dudes who have had any restraining order stuff, regardless
that
of. That
knocks out a big percentage.
Yeah, well, it knocks out at least two of them. A guy is still in the game. He's got a hometown now. Like, you know what I mean?
Don't think I didn't notice.
He cannot be your bachelor. I don't think Mark can be your bachelor. So if you're looking at the other two finalists, it's Jordan and Pascal. Maybe Pascal could be a bachelor. Or Chalk. I mean, sorry, not Jordan, Chalk. Chalk,
I would love a Pascal season.
Chalk, yeah, I would too. I think he could be entertaining. But Charles L. is the way to go here. That season would be gigantic.
100%.
Because it is so out of what you would expect Golden Bachelor to be. And that dude is so fucking lovable and hilarious. He'll be gold.
Like, he exploded on social media.
Yeah.
That's a star.
I agree.
You hire that person and you pay them whatever they want. Even if Maria is asking for whatever.
I think, and here's the beauty of Charles L. I bet he'd do it for free. Can't beat free.
Can't beat free. An SOB.
Can't beat free. Portion 8 begins. The guys are getting ready for the rose ceremony. And we get a bunch of hits in these ITMs. Hometowns are coming. Hometowns are coming. I want hometowns. Hometowns are coming. The guys are all wishing each other luck. Jordan ITMs that he wants a hometown and all 6 are left. All the 6 men that are left are great men. Joan comes in and says, you're all handsome. And she explains how hard it was to send Mark home. She couldn't even hear what he was saying. She didn't see a future with them at all. She's looking for someone to spend her golden years with. And
she's in a black leather strapless dress for the funeral of Mark and some others.
The execution.
The funeral of some more girl dads.
we get this rose ceremony. Pascal gets the first flower, followed by Chalk, then Guy. Then, this is the first time we see DLP in the flesh. He materializes. This is the final rose tonight. Renders a dark touch, and Jordan gets the fourth flower. Sending home Jonathan and Keith.
Wild.
Who get a tam sig. Take a moment and say your goodbyes.
John gets railroaded here. This whole episode is dedicated to Mark leaving, and we don't see anything from John leaving. We get a little from Keith leaving. John does get a walk out to the dumping bench. I feel validated and seen. Great exit. Mm-hmm. You are seen. I literally was like, this was the red wedding, this episode. I couldn't believe we were losing these.
He had a good frontrunners line play, though, here at the end. When he's in the car after this dumping, he's like, I was devastated. I thought she'd want to meet my family. I wish her the best, though. I believed in a second chance at love. She healed my heart. And he goes, maybe my journey is just beginning. That was a great crown line. I'm down for a Jonathan crown.
That is a good line.
I think he'd be a good crown.
100%.
Charles L is my first pick. Jonathan is my second. Yeah, maybe.
I like that.
I mean, maybe. It just depends on, like, if we're looking at the guys who have made it this far, your top four, I don't think Guy can be your Golden Bachelor. Pascal, maybe.
100% no.
Who the fuck knows? Chalk could be, I guess. Jordan,
Chalk to me feels like the ring winner.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Guy, Chalk, or Pascal, in my opinion, are the ring winner frontrunners. I don't think Jordan is a ring winner, and I don't think he can carry a crown. No offense to Mr.
I think he can carry a crown. He's funny.
Interesting. All right.
But they haven't showed him at all. So it makes me think they are Justin glazing this man from the show.
I think so too. Then we get our promo next week on Golden Bachelorette. Chalk welcomes her to Wichita, Kansas. Guy takes her home. Pascal has a little flash. A kid asks if she kissed her grandpa, and she says he did, and the kid goes crazy. Guy has fallen for her. He tells a son of some kind that he would get on a knee. Some more kisses. Jordan seems genuine. Chalk tells his, I think, dad that he's getting closer. Someone might not pick her, she is told. Chalk then wants to know if this is real.
Joan saying your dad wouldn't pick me. That line, I think, should have been like the fence jump of the season. I was like, that's a great line.
I agree. It looks like some daughter then is also saying that her father is not going to pick her. Then Joan wonders if she could leave here alone. And that wraps up coverage of the final regular season game of Joan Vassos' historic Golden Bachelorette Season 1. Who was your MVP, PaceCase?
For my play of the game, PTC, for his walls, for his second audience game, for my face play of the game, Mark Anderson was my MVP.
Interesting.
Who was yours?
For his arm around her in the bowling alley and not here to make friends strategy, Chalk was my MVP. I don't think Mark played like a terrible game. Just bad enough to get sent home. You know? Like, could he have done more on that date to have gotten a hometown? She wanted to give him a hometown fucking rose. I think, and this is also, I think, personally, this is just my analysis here. I think it's a bad sign for his Golden Bachelor run that he didn't get a hometown, because producers determine at least a couple of those guys, you know?
I feel like maybe she wasn't into him and she was like, okay, I'll keep him to this point. They were like, please, we need him to be Golden Bachelor.
But you think she's into Jordan? You think she's honestly into Pascal? I think she is, for what I'm viewing, I think she's into Guy and I think she's into Chalk.
I think she's into Chalk.
I don't think she's that into Pascal. He's like funny and interesting or whatever. Jordan, I don't think she's into.
They're giving him clown music.
Yes. I think that the producers made a decision here on who was going to get at least the fourth hometown, if not the third and fourth. And Mark was not either one of those.
Well, maybe it's because they're going to announce it soon. Who knows?
Then he's got to wait a fucking year. They shouldn't announce it, in my opinion, until you're about 2 months away from that season shooting. Because anything could happen. You announce Mark now. What if he meets the love of his life in 2 weeks? Mm-hmm. Well, sorry. They can't wait a fucking year.
Slow-talking lady.
No, just a woman with really like big ears who can hear everything he's saying.
And she can catch the birds.
Yeah, she's got sensitive hearing.
When he said that his wife like had hair down to his legs and was like catching hummers, I was like, this is not Joan. Mm-hmm. Joan is not a free spirit.
Yeah. Do you know the word hummer? Like what it's slang for?
Maybe.
Okay, I was just curious.
There's different.
I was just curious.
Hey, you didn't know a very important hand gesture the other day.
What was that?
The shock of the century.
What hand gesture?
The shocker.
Oh, is the shocker as ubiquitous as Hummer?
For my generation.
Damn.
It's more.
Well,
I've never heard a person my age use the term Hummer. I feel like that's like a Gary thing. Those California freeways and those Hummers.
No, not like the car.
No, I know.
Okay. Anyways, thank you for joining us.
Sorry.
Thanks for joining us. That wraps up our recap and coverage of Joan Vassos' final regular season game. We will be back on Friday with This Week in Bachelor Nation, breaking down all the news. There's some big stuff that's been happening this week. I've been seeing a little bit here and there.
Is popping off.
Yeah. As you're listening to this recording on a Thursday, I will have already probably covered the 2 episodes that are going to drop for Love is Blind on Tuesday night at midnight. They will all be out by the time you're listening to this. So will my Clues Corners at patreon.com/Game of Roses. Join us for
those
that. Those
editors take a year to edit it, and you watch it within hours of it.
Yeah. You know who's editing I am blown away by is the Love Island editors.
Yes.
It's the best edited show, period, of any of these dating games that I've ever seen. And they do it in a day. They shoot that show and cut that show in 24 hours. Yeah. Every episode. It's fucking unreal what they're able to do. Anyways, thank you for joining us, and we'll be back very soon with a lot of other stuff. And remember, if you're in Los Angeles and you want to come out next week to the hometown game for a live watch party,
it's so 33 taps. This is in time for playoffs.
Me too. 33 taps in West Hollywood. Please join us.
That's where the buildings are a little tall, but not as tall as they were for the last time. Praise be Dark Lord Bomber.
Please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us. And then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast.